There could be any number of reasons why you would download a podcast about figure modeling. I'd like to think maybe you're a student and you're in an art class and you want to know what's in the head of that person up there on the model's platform. But more than likely, you want the same answers because you're thinking of being a model yourself. Well, you've come to the right place. I'm an active figure model here in Chicago, and I've been so for a number of decades. Welcome back to the Figure Model Podcast. I'm Rob Schendel, and this is episode number 8. It's actually been a couple of months since I've talked to you. I've had some modeling since then, but really we went into the holidays. And if you concentrate on schools, there's not a whole lot going on in the schools because they're on holiday break. And then we just got a little busy with a few other things, and now we're back in the swing of things. I wanted to tell you one of the most embarrassing things for me as a model. And it really had nothing to do with anything going on the platform, nothing to do with my work, but it had to do with a distraction. And I want you to be mindful of this when and if you're ever modeling for an art class. I had just gotten a new cell phone, and I had it in my bag with my stuff, and I know you know where I'm going with this. I didn't yet recognize the ringtone, and suddenly this cell phone starts ringing in the class, and I didn't feel. Finally, the instructor said, "Rob, is that your cell phone?" I said, "I don't think." And then it occurred to me this was a brand new cell phone, and no one's ever called it. And no, it was mine. And I had to apologize. What you want to do is you shut that baby down when a class is in session. You don't want that to happen. You don't want it ringing while you're in class. One of the most upsetting things to me when I was on the platform modeling in a class once was not a cell phone ringing, but a student actually picking it up and placing a call while the rest of the class was trying to do the work from my modeling. And I actually spoke up about that one. I complained a little loudly to the instructor regarding that. But don't forget, it seems so simple and so obvious, but even I forgot to shut the ringer off on it when I went to do model that day. I'd like to again remind you, or to impress upon you, how important it is just to get your name out there and let people know that you will model for artists. I got a great gig. It's not through the normal channels, but what I got it through was through meetup.com. Did the little search in there for figure modeling, figure models, nude photography and stuff in my area, and up came a bunch of these groups. Well, there's several of them of people that just get together once or twice a month to draw from a figure model. There's little sketch clubs, and I wrote and I joined up for the notices about that group, and I wrote the coordinator and I said that I was interested in modeling opportunities, and I got what almost seemed like a canned response saying, "We're full up on models, but if anything should happen, I'll give you a ring or buzz you, call on you." Well, it turned out just last week I got an email on Sunday of all things. "Are you available this week?" And I wasn't sure that I was, but I thought about it and I said, "Oh yeah, I am." "And good. Then could we rely on you as the model for this week?" "Sure." Well, it turned out wonderful. I showed up about 20 minutes before the group was scheduled to gather. It meets in a coffee house just after hours, and it's an old storefront, And actually the window is where the model poses. But of course it's all blacked out and no one can see in from the street. But it was a nice group of, I think 7 people were there. And so nice. It's a lot different though than a class is. And as I've told you before, primarily I model for schools, for art classes. In an art class, there's always something to listen to. Primarily the instructor. Instructor's giving clues, pointing things out on your anatomy, talking to the students, walking around the room, judging things. You hear all this stuff. And the time goes by. This was a group of, say, 7 adults, busy, drawing away, and the only noise was from Pandora playing music that they let fill into the room. It took a while. The time dragged, but it was really worthwhile. It paid me well. And then the next day, I looked at that model, that meetup group, and I've never seen this. I've monitored it. I followed it every week. But there was a comment about the great model. And of course, that was me. Got to use your head. Got to think of places that you wouldn't think of to let the world know that you want to model for them. And in the case of this meetup group, the coordinator has already scheduled me for a few other spots. They meet every week. And I'll be there a lot. I received an email from a viewer asking a question. I guess I won't say his name because I don't have permission to use his name. But he had a concern about his anatomy and whether that would be an issue if he was a figure model. He was concerned about the way his member laid as opposed to what he sees in pictures of nude men. But it was a legitimate question from someone who's never modeled before. And if you have any kind of concern on that order, please remember, it takes all types. If it didn't, you'd have one figure model who did all the work and no one else would get to work. That would be of no service to any class or any adult drawing group. They need to have some variety. And his issue was such a minor one. I don't think anyone but himself will have any issue with it. It's no big deal, no pun intended. And you have young, you have old, you have fat, you have thin, you have tall, you have short, and of course you have male and female. We can't all possibly be alike. It would be of no service to the artist. I again would like to thank that viewer for his question. If you have a question, please don't hesitate. Do the same thing. Write to me, robshendel@gmail.com. I'll respond as quickly as I can, and I might even answer the question here on the podcast. Thanks again for downloading. Thanks for watching. And we'll be back someday soon with another episode of the Figure Model Podcast. You have a great one.